This incredible bike is the Colnago V4RS, which is the fastest road race bike that Colnago make, which is great news because in a few weeks' time, I'm going to be dusting off my road race license and heading to the GranFondo New York, which is a UCI pro race that starts just 15 minutes ahead of the GranFondo New York World Championships, which Ollie is going to be racing aboard this beautiful Colnago C68. Which means we've got two different bikes for two different races, both using the latest in materials and tech. One pro setup, one enthusiast setup. In this video, I'm going to tell you more about the bikes, show you how I plan to upgrade and trick the V4RS out, and then explain which bike is best. Right, first up, we need to say thanks to Colnago for helping get behind and supporting this project, and also supplying Ollie and I these two beautiful bikes on loan for the race. Now, the video showing how we get on in the races will be out in the coming weeks because at the time of filming this, well, we haven't just done it yet. So subscribe to GCN to make sure you don't miss out on that. The bikes are undoubtedly going to help us out in the race, but it is still going to be down to us to deliver the goods. Now, it's not just going to be a case of fitting parts onto the bike and hoping for the best. The parts that I'm choosing to use are designed to optimize the performance overall, rather than just trying to make the lightest bike possible to go as fast as possible uphill only. So that's enough chat from me, because what we need to do now is head inside to GCN Megabase and get tricking this bike out. Let's go. So I finished modifying my bike and we've made it all the way to New York, and I think my bike is looking absolutely badass and race ready, and you can let me know what you think of it in the comments section down below.
It looks almost as good as mine. Now, at the start of the video, Alex said he was going to leave me to my own devices to modify my bike because I'm a big boy. Now, I've done that, and I'm going to tell you the modifications I've made in a minute. But first, we need to address what actually separates these two bikes, because according to Colnago, these are both the top-of-the-range models that they make.
Yeah, I think it all falls down to who these bikes are intended for, what the sort of ethos behind their construction process is, and the physical construction process of how these bikes are made.
Yes.
The V4RS, the bike that I'm riding, is made using a monocoque carbon fibre construction, which means it's made in one piece, out of carbon fibre, in one giant mould, outside of Italy. Colnago say this bike is designed with just one thing in mind: winning.
and Tadej Pogacar does that a lot.
Yeah.
Whereas my bike is made from different pieces of carbon fibre put together, sort of reminiscent of the lugged construction of the C series throughout the ages. And it's still made in Italy from 8 different pieces that are bonded together in the factory in, near Milan.
Now, both of these bikes share near identical geometry, which is designed to make them feel very racy, which is a good thing. But the ethos behind your bike, whereas Colnago here have gone with like trying to make the fastest race-ready bike, here it's all about drawing on the ethos, the history, the DNA, the heritage, and all of the technology that Campagnolo have to create what they say is the perfect bike in the art of bike building.
Plus, it just looks mint, and that's the most important thing.
Second to mine.
I was thinking about this. I think the best way to describe it is to use Ferraris as an analogy, which is fitting because these are basically the equivalent of a Ferrari in bike terms. Okay. Now, yours is more like a mid-engined, track Ferrari that's all designed around performance, right, and lap times. Okay. This is like a GT car Ferrari with the engine up the front, more comfortable, which is what they say. It's more compliant, they reckon, and also, I mean, this is just wins extra points because it's literally made in Ernesto Colnago's basement. I've been there, I've seen it.
Okay, now those differences between the two bikes are the exact reason why I'm going to be racing on the V4RS in the pro race and why you're going to be racing on the C68 in the mass participation amateur race.
It's going to be good. In terms of weight between the two, they've both come out about the same in the builds we have here, so around 7.4 kilograms, which is interesting because the V4RS is actually slightly lighter than the C68, was around 160 grams or so? 127 grams. But we think the difference there is that Alex's will be a little bit heavier because he's riding a size larger than my one.
Yeah, mine is a 55, whereas yours is a 53.
Yeah.
So they're the differences between the weights. But in terms of how we've modified and tweaked these bikes to try and squeeze out even more performance further still, I think we should run through that next. Should we start with you?
Yes. So I've gone for Vision Metron SL45 wheels, good all-round depth for this hilly course we have in New York. And on those, the new Pirelli RS TLR tyres, the latest ones. Front one's actually still a prototype because it had plenty of life in it, so I kept that one on. 28mm setup tubeless, of course. Wax chain, obvs. Cool thing though is I've got 170 cranks on there. I've changed because I like shorter cranks, and I've gone for the Aero Coach chain rings. 54 is the big one, and the inner one is 42. Reason why I've done that is because I've got a 34 on the back. There's nothing super steep in this event, but there are lots of long, fast downhills, and so I wanted the bigger gear for those.
Okay.
Other than that, 38 centimetre bars, I think same as you, and looking good.
So,
Cella Italia SLR Boost, my favourite, always on there.
Have you finished talking about your bike yet?
Yeah.
Right, the V4RS, which I've got, I've made some tweaks too. First thing I want to talk about are the wheels. So I've got the Reynolds Black Label 46s, fitted with the same tyres that Ollie's got, 28mm wide, and of course, set up tubeless. I have made some additional upgrades to my bike though, thanks to some help that we've got from Tripek, who are a manufacturer that are making ceramic bearings for all different components onto your bike to help trick it out. Now, I've got the bottom bracket installed, but get this, I've also got something called an AOPW, which is an asymmetric, oversized pulley wheel. Essentially, by offsetting the central point of the lower pulley wheel, I'm able to run an oversized pulley wheel
in a standard
cage, which is super
I spotted that. That is pretty cool.
Yeah, that is cool. Other tweaks that I've made to the bike are similar to Ollie as well. I've gone for larger chain rings. These are the Shimano 9200 12-speed version. 42 on the inside, 54 on the outside. Same cassette as well. I've matched that up to an 11 to 34. And I've made upgrades to the brake in here as well.
What?
Because I'm thinking at pro speeds, we need to sharpen up the brakes as much as possible. Carbon Tyre hooked me up with some of their absolutely bling rotors with the carbon fibre centre carrier, 160 up front.
Pogacar uses those.
Pogacar does use those, just like this bike. Maybe I can channel my inner Pogacar.
Yeah, I think so.
And 140mm at the back. 170mm crank arms, again, the same as Ollie. I've actually got the Aero Wahoo pedals. You've got the dual-sided ones.
Yep.
Aero gains for me. And I've actually got the same width handlebar, but a 10mm shorter stem because I've got that bigger size bike. And just like Ollie, wax chain.
But it's not all about the bike. Unfortunately, a bike needs an engine too. So to find out a bit more about these two engines, a couple of days ago we were actually in Boston thanks to Human Powered Health and their new research lab and Human Go AI, and we did basically every physiological test going to see how we compare to pros. I mean, go check out that video, you can see all the stuff we were put through, but the broad conclusion was that I'm lighter than Alex, but Alex is considerably more powerful than me, especially over short efforts and at sprinting.
So it's going to be interesting to see how the race actually pans out. As I said, go check out that video. But I think that kind of really covers off the difference in the setup between our two bikes and also the difference between these two bikes. Because like we said at the start, whilst they do both sit at the top of the food chain in Colnago's terms, they are very different bikes and intended for very different people.
Yeah.
Please do let us know what you think of both of the bikes and the setups that we've chosen to run in the comments section down below. And do make sure you check out the event video when we're going to race the mean streets of New York on these bad boys. And
how cool is it to be here? Could we take a minute to appreciate that in Central Park? This is pretty special, isn't it?
And if you're going to do one more thing for me, subscribe to GCN and subscribe to GCNTech. Right, we're out of here. See ya.
Love you, bye.